want to do is find out what got you on this pathway, because you know you've got background in your life, and what inspired you to go on a spiritual pathway. I mean, obviously we have to live in this material world. What got you onto it? I mean, was there any family that were connected with this at all, or where did you get your inspiration for doing the work you do?
Yes, it's an interesting question, and I often reflect about my life and how I've got to where I've got to.
Yes.
Now, if I think about it in two separate ways,
yes.
Because when I was growing up,
yes,
my parents are very spiritual. I come from an Indian background,
yep.
and my dad and my mum, especially my dad, they were both very much into their guru, who used to come over from India.
Right.
And I was brought up with all that. And another very interesting thing, which a lot of people now don't know,
right.
is that Bedford, when
yes.
a lot of the Indians came over,
yes.
especially the Punjabi community,
yeah.
before they had all these temples that
yes.
you see now,
yes.
basically the temple, the holy book, was kept in our house.
Wow.
And my dad used to run the sessions
yes.
Every Sunday. And we used to have satsang in our family house.
Right.
The whole of the upstairs was dedicated to being like a temple.
Right.
Yeah. And so people, when they got married and had ceremonies, they would happen in our house.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is as culture at home. That's fantastic.
Exactly. So I was brought up with that.
Yes.
And when our guru used to come over from India,
right.
The whole community would get together in our house.
Yes.
And do all the spiritual practices like the kirtan and the satsang, and so playing, singing,
yes,
coming together.
Yes.
The community.
Real cultural thing.
Yes. But
yeah.
what I grew up with was a real sense of community, which is really missing these days.
Oh yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, there was so much love as
yes.
well. I really felt and sensed that everybody who came together, the community, they were just so sacrificing towards each other.
Yeah.
It was like, I need to borrow some money because I'm going to buy a house, and everybody would just pool in together.
Wow, yeah. So that support was there
yeah,
on a financial level as well.
On a financial level, emotional level.
Yeah.
It was great. So I feel really blessed that I was brought up with all that. But having said all that, there was a turning point later on in my life, which, now there is a difference, because up until that point, I suppose I was engaging, I was following, but I wasn't what you would call awakened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spiritually aware of where your pathway is going to take you, I suppose, in some ways,
I wasn't awakened to who I was. What I was doing all those years in my childhood was following a family dynamic, a cultural dynamic, and just being part of it.
Yes.
Which I really am honoured to have been part of, and I will always remember that, because that is what gave me the stability for what happened later on in my life. So when I was in my mid-20s, having gone through, this is what, where you talk about karmic contracts.
Yes.
Something comes together and bang.
Yes. Yeah.
So this was a karmic contract, and it was a marriage.
Yes.
Not exactly what I was anticipating.
No. But that's part of your culture, isn't it?
Not that. I'm not on about that, because if it was...
So you're more on a spiritual karmic level, do you mean?
Yeah, I'm on about the karmic.
Oh, I got it, yes.
Yeah. It was what happened. It was what happened within that.
Yes.
That broke me.
Right.
I was broken really badly.
Right.
And when you have a karmic contract, sometimes that can spill out in like a ripple.
Yes.
Not just with one person.
No, it affects a lot of people, yes.
It can be the whole family, the whole community. So again, for me, family, community, everything was again involved in this karmic contract.
Right.
Because the way I was broken, it was in a way that Spirit wanted me in that place, in that state, to
find yourself,
to let the light come through. Because in there is a quote by Rumi, isn't there, where the cracks appear, the light will come through.
Yes, absolutely.
And I didn't know that at that time. It's something I came across much later.
Yeah.
But at that time, the way I was broken was very painful.
Mm.
And I went into the depths of darkness, basically.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they say that it's through the darkness
Absolutely.
that you find the light.
Yeah.
So I went into the depths of darkness. That I had my awakening.
Where you find yourself, don't you, when you come back to that centre core, that there's nothing else to distract you mentally because all your thoughts are inward rather than outward, that you find that stability out of that darkness becomes the stability you build upon to break out of. Yeah.
I'd like to share. When I had hit rock bottom,
Yes.
I actually wanted to take my life. It was that bad.
Because you couldn't see a way out.
I couldn't see a way out, but what I remember of that time was the pain was severe.
Yes.
It was really, really, really severe. Now I was brought up with, again I'm blessed to have been brought up with lots of different religions.
Yes.
So I had that diversity of religion. I even, went to Sunday school. We had the Christian upbringing at school, but at home it was a Sikh, Hindu.
Yeah,
So there was a lot of different faiths that I was involved in.
Right.
I remember when I was at school, we used to do hymns, singing hymns in assembly. And one of my favourite hymns was Oh Jesus, I Have Promised.
Yes, I know it well.
Do you know that hymn?
I even know the number. It's hymn number 31. Would you show it? Yes, I do.
Oh wow,
In the
that
Mission
was
Praise
my
Book.
favourite hymn. It's really strange because when I used to sing that, I used to feel
You felt
this
that
love
yeah.
of Jesus, that
Yes.
he was there with me.
Yes.
I used to feel I was just being held in that love.
Yes.
Now, when I had hit rock bottom,
Yes.
and I was feeling this pain, and it was like, like they say, it's either a breakdown,
Yeah.
but then through that breakdown, you can have that breakthrough.
Yeah. So
Now,
like a breakout, isn't it, almost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had that breakthrough, but the way I had it was, I remember like this, I was just sitting down and I was sort of like, I was in so much pain and agony, I was going like rocking myself.
Yes.
And I had a candle lit,
Yeah.
and I used to watch the flame of the candle.
Yeah.
And when it was like I went into a deep meditation.
Yeah.
And sitting there watching the flame of that candle, I then suddenly had this most amazing spiritual experience. What happened was, as I was looking at that candle, it began to have a white aura. And that white aura began to expand, and the room just filled with this white, like fog-like
Yes.
colour. So I could see nothing but white colour.
Yes.
And then it was like a fog, and through that I saw Jesus coming, and it was almost like he came to the back of me and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he whispered into my ear, and what he whispered into my ear was the Footsteps poem.
Oh yes.
Now that poem, I had never come across it before.
Oh, right.
I had never heard of it. I had never come across it, even though we had assembly and hymns
Yes,
and stuff.
yeah.
But the poem I had never come across.
Right.
So he whispered the poem, and again it reminded me of assembly and how I used to feel comforted when we used to sing that hymn. So when he whispered in my ear, he said, my child, I'm here for you. I'm holding you. You're not alone. I am holding you.
Yeah.
I am giving you the comfort, the love, everything that you need. And now that you've experienced pain to this level, you're going to go out and help a lot of people with their pain. At that time, I didn't know what that meant.
No.
Because all I could think of was my own pain.
Yes.
But I remember that just made me so emotional that I started crying.
Yeah.
And I felt sort of still being comforted for a while, and then everything just went back to normal. But interestingly, then there is this thing about synchronicity.
Yes.
So A week later, what happened was where I used to live, there was a second-hand shop just around the corner.
Yep.
And sometimes I would pop into that shop just going out for a little walk.
Yes.
I went into that shop and I was browsing around, and I came across this glass plaque which had the footsteps.
Footsteps, all right, yes.
And I looked at it and I just had tears.
I bet.
And the shop lady looked at me and she picked it up and she said, "I know it means something to you. Just take it as a gift from me." I can even feel that emotion now, you know.
Isn't that wonderful?
It was really touching, you know, the way that she empathised.
Yes.
And could feel that, you know, what I most probably was feeling inside.
Yes.
And so I brought that home, and I would look at it and I would read it and I would find comfort through it, because it was like, I'm not alone.
No.
You know, whereas everybody else at that point, it was like they disappeared out of my life.
Yes.
I was completely on my own. And it was like I was given that poem as a reminder that you're not alone.
Absolutely.
You know, and that you are being looked after, you are being comforted, and there is a life for you. Because when I had hit that rock bottom, and before that spiritual experience occurring, I just wanted to end it all because I couldn't see anything past that. You know, the pain was just so severe. But when that happened, and then finding comfort reading that poem every day and knowing that, you know, there is spirit there.
Yes.
Somebody's with me, somebody's guiding me, somebody's helping me.
Yes.
It was like one thing then led to another.
Yes.
Because I remembered then that when I was told that, you know, like I would help a lot of people with their pain, as I said, I didn't know at the time what it meant.
Yeah.
But soon after that, it was the sort of chain of events. I started an astrology course that started telling me a bit more about myself, and I remember my tutor when he did my chart with me, and he said to me, "You're going to be a psychotherapist.
Wow.
You should go and do a counselling."
It's in the stars, isn't it? It's there.
I was meant to go down that path. So anyway, and then I came across this counselling course. And I didn't know what counselling was or how it worked. It was very new to me. So then I enrolled on the counselling course, and that was the start of my journey. It was opening doors about me learning about myself.
Yes.
So initially it was a way of me helping myself and understanding so many things through the psychology that I was learning. And then obviously eventually I began to help other people, because when I got to the diploma, you have to have a placement.
Yes.
And when I had my first placement, it was at the mental health unit in Bedford.
Yeah.
And I had a placement, and the clients that used to come to me were GP referred. And when I used to sit and listen to my clients, I sort of like was, when they talked to me about their problems, it began to make sense that I wasn't alone again.
Yes.
That I wasn't the only one in the world with all these problems.
Yes.
You know, that there are other people out there suffering just the same as me.
Yes.
And so it began to really make me empathise with people and suffering and what was going on. And since then I've come a long way. I have been, I've had various placements, you know, I've sat and listened to horrendous stories about pain, about abuse, about torture. And so it's been sort of like one thing led to another. From the counselling and psychotherapy, I then did hypnotherapy, I did life coaching, I did lots of the energy kind of work, you know, like Reiki healing, colour healing, crystal healing, all those things, because it was A, helping myself and healing myself, but B, gaining an understanding deep enough that it would help me with my clients as well.
Oh yeah.
I have lots of experiences with spirit. They guide me quite a lot with my life and with other people. but not everybody, you know, believes in spirit.
No, that's fine.
And the way that I work, or the way that people like myself work. No, and sometimes you have to be very careful in sessions how you're going to steer it and guide
Yes.
it. Because, you know, like, I remember one of my clients, now she's from a Muslim background,
Mhm.
and so she was practicing, but wouldn't sort of see things as we would in terms of spirit.
Yes, absolutely.
So I had to be very careful.
That's right.
But what happened was, when she came to one of her sessions,
Mm.
she was a little bit late
Right.
and very apologetic,
Yes.
and then she started crying,
Right.
really, really emotional. And she said that she was late because she was looking in the shops for a card for her son, who would have been 5 that day.
Right.
It was his birth anniversary, and he had passed away 5 years previous.
Yes.
And she was looking for a card, and then she said she felt guilty that should she be looking for a card, and should she be thinking about celebrating his birthday. And she said she felt confused, she didn't know what to do. And so I asked her, what is it you would really like to do? She said, well, up until now I've always celebrated his birthday, and I've always bought a card, but she said, I don't know why I'm doing it, because I don't know if he knows, you know, that I celebrate his birthday. She said, I don't know if he knows how much I miss him. She said, I don't know if he knows, you know, that a part of me is missing.
Yes.
So she was saying all these things. And then Spirit started talking to me,
Right.
and saying, tell her, what is the colour blue significant for? And I kind of like wouldn't listen to Spirit initially, because I didn't want to go down that road with her, and, because I knew what they were trying to do.
Yes, yeah.
So they wouldn't stop, because when I get that little voice,
I know.
it's like,
It's
you know,
persistent, isn't it?
it's
Yes.
persistent.
Yeah.
So then I said to her, do you mind if you tell me, or is it okay if you tell me, I can't remember how I said it, but I remember saying to her about the colour blue, what was significant in terms of the baby and you about the colour blue. Well, the minute I said that, she just went into floods of tears and emotional and crying. And then I had to just obviously stay with that, you know, for a while. And when she reorientated, she said to me, blue is the colour we put on him when we buried him.
Yeah,
It was on his funeral, we put blue on him.
Yeah.
And she said that every time I see blue on children, on babies, I think of my baby.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like really touching. So I said to her, I don't really know how to say this to you, because I don't know if you believe in, you know, what I'm about to say, but I feel you can take it or leave it, it's up to you.
Good.
But I feel like at this point I have to say something.
Yes.
And she said, what is it? So I said, well, Spirit is saying that they have your boy here with them, and he's wearing blue, and he wants you to be happy, and he doesn't want you to be upset. He knows the candles you lit. I'm getting emotional now, because I'm remembering the session and how really deep it was.
Yeah.
Because, you know, afterwards she couldn't thank me enough.
And that's wonderful,
you know?
isn't it? Because you're stepping across what would be barriers in religion,
Exactly.
but there's no barriers in spirituality.
No.
Spirituality is not religion based, as in such.
No. So, you know, I said to her that Spirit were telling me that her son is there with her, and he knows all the candles she lit, all the birthdays she celebrated, all the nights that she spent crying, and that, you know, he wants her to be happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, that he wanted her to go home and celebrate his birthday, and that he would be there for her. And then when she came back the following week, she said to me that ever since that session, she feels her son around her.
Wonderful.
And it's so comforting.
Yeah.
It's really comforting for her to know that she can, you know, still have that feeling that her son is there.
Yes.
And that he's not gone away.
Yeah.
And that, you know, she felt the love. She really felt the love. And she felt that it was like a turning point in her life.
Yes.
That she could now move forward with. And she said it felt like a sense of freedom.
I think that's wonderful, because religion can't teach you that. If there's a barrier that says what happens for life after life or life after death, however you look at it, says no, we don't talk about that. That's not in our in our rule book.
This client, when she finished with me, she wrote me one of the most beautiful poems, and it was amazing.
Wow.
And when I read that poem, it reminded me again of my experience, you know, and that Footsteps poem that I would help people in pain.
Yeah.
You know, so there's been experiences like that.
Yeah, but that's
that
amazing.
One was a very
you see,
deep, touching, emotional one. You know?
Because you were so sensitive of their upbringing, their religion, their understanding, and yet you put it in such a way that I don't often hear from people. You know, they're so respectful of that person, how you were, and that is, would you mind if I share this with you? Would you mind if I tell you this, what I'm getting? And you shared that in such a beautiful and delicate way. It couldn't upset anyone with any religious beliefs, and yet it pushed the barrier and it opened the door and gave that lady some healing and comfort to know that son was there.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. You know.
I'm so glad you shared that, because that's so important. You know, it's important to share what we do in life, but to share that level of experience that you and the emotion that went with it, I think that's almost like a miracle, one would say, in some ways.
And I still get emotional about it to this day, because, you know, it reminds me of the power of spirit.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah, that power, that love and that connection, that support, everything that you had from your religion, your belief system, and yet it's one that covers everyone in the world and touches everyone in the world who are willing to reach out for that and are looking or ask for that support and love which you found, and now you share it in such a delicate way. I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I wasn't even sure what we're going to talk about. I had an idea, but for you to share that, that's far greater than anything else I could ask from you. But I think you were meant to share that, and I think others can learn from that, and it just takes the barriers down from where religion is in some ways. You know, there's no barriers, none at all. Religion is man-made, not God-made.
That's right.
And I think when you talk about spirit, you know, it's that universal God love, however you describe your God.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to get away. Just behind her angel appeared.
Right.
Like her guardian angel.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see clearly the angel behind her.
Wonderful.
And the light that the angel was glowing, it was around her head.
Yes.
The client's head.
Yes.
So the angel was putting this gold light around the client's head. And again, I was just sort of like, well, Spirit, what are you doing? Now how am I going to tell this client, you know, what's going on? But luckily, because she was Christian, I asked her, do you believe in angels? And so she said yes. I said, do you ever feel your angel near you? She said, I would like to. And I said to her, we all have our angel. Our angels are always near us. So when you say I'd like to, does that mean that you've never experienced your angel near you? And she said, no, I don't know if my angel is near me. If my angel was near me, why would she let me go through, she or he let me go through
what I've gone through, yeah.
And I said, sometimes it's a journey we have to experience until we can sort of find
It's
that we're ready.
pathway, yes.
So I said to her, how would you feel if I said to you, your angel is here right now? And again, the emotion.
Oh, yes.
She was like, and I said, the angel is putting golden light around your head. Can you feel it? Can you feel your angel there? And the minute I said that,
that recognition was there, was it?
It was there, she could feel it, and floods of tears again.
So that changed her life from where she was, and it moved forward.
Because then from that moment, you know, when it was like she embodied and embraced that feeling that her angel was there, that she wasn't alone, and that she can change her life.
Yes.
And after that, like a domino effect, her life began to change.
Good.
Because, you know, she broke away from being homeless and the group of people that she was
Yeah.
with. She started enrolling on all the courses that we were offering in terms of confidence and self-esteem, empowerment. She got a flat for herself through the support of the centre. So it was a lot of help and support, but she managed.
Yeah.
You know, eventually she was studying.
Wow.
So she changed her life around.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get lots and lots of indications from Spirit on how to help people. You know, but I don't know whether, you know, for me it always goes back to what I went through, the way that, you know, Spirit had come through for me. And it's almost like now I end up coming into people's lives where they get to a point of stuckness, and then I come in and it's like change, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like,
you're like a facilitator
the bringer of
change.
change.
Yes.
You know, from where they've been stuck and stagnant to move forward.
Yeah. A wonderful feel-good factor from that, to realise that you're repaying all that love and support that was given to you, that you're equally and more sharing it with others.
Absolutely.
I find that amazing.
And to talk to her mother by
Yes.
looking at the stone and
Yes.
the flame.
Yeah.
Talk to her mother about the things she had written in the letter.
Yes.
And I then asked her to burn the letter and tell herself and her mother that she was releasing both of them from whatever negativity that was holding them back,
Yeah.
and that she would like to, you know, in case her mother's stuck anywhere, that she would like to see her mother in the light.
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, I got her to sort of like follow some prayers. And again, you know, we did this ritualistic sort of ceremony, and she felt so amazing afterwards. For the days and the weeks that followed, she just felt better and better and better. There was this glow that started to shine that you'd never seen in her face before. You know.
Very wonderful.
So it's really, what I find really amazing though is that where people don't understand initially, they kind of they build a connection with me where they trust me.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel very honoured about that.
Yeah.
That there is this sense of trust.
Yeah, but that's because you deserve it. It's in your karmic pathway. You worked for that.
Right.
It's not ego. It's the eye of the spiritual connection, not the eye of the person. And clearly, even sitting with you today, I could see around you spirit moving. I can see in your eyes that you can see spirit, and I don't know even if that was a child whether you understood or not. I could see that around you. When you said to me, "Now I've got one," they're asking me to. I could see them building up just on that side, which is really wonderful, really, because that's the sort of message that needs to be shared. That you've supported people no matter what their belief system is, no matter what their tragedy is. That you've respectfully stood close to them and just supported them, gave that support, but like the footsteps gave you support, where you felt Jesus came close to you and supported you in your time of need. You also, you know, work in His light or anyone's light of a high spiritual sense, and offer that same support here, where people wouldn't always understand that. And you'll still do that. I feel strongly that you'll still continue to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And bring that.
You see, the thing is, I see people as just human beings.
Yes.
And I see their soul, their spirit.
Yeah.
I don't connect them to anything about their behaviour,
No.
their cultural beliefs,
No.
their spirit, their religious
That's just the
beliefs.
surface, isn't it?
That's just things that can change. They're just conditioning or just beliefs for that moment, but they can be changed. So when I see people, what I, you know,
It's like a
connect
clean
to
sheet,
is their
isn't it?
Is their light, their
I see that you do, and you it's almost as that they're asking you for something, they're giving you permission to do it, even though they don't understand. They're almost saying, please help me, and I need to understand this part of this experience. Where do I go from here? And everything that you've done has been so tailored to the person and that individual that almost that you evaluate it by instinct and spiritual connection and spirit being around you, that it's quite unique for every person, even though maybe some of the processes eventually become similar in that release. And I think
Yeah.
probably for the years of your counselling helps you with that aspect as well. That, well, this is just the start of a journey that you'll continue. And I've been so pleased today to come and chat to you and find that spiritual depth that's phenomenal in my books. Absolutely phenomenal. Because there's lots of holistic practitioners out there who do the job, but you've got to literally, as they say, put your heart and soul into it, and I think you do it every time.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. It's been fabulous for me just to be in your company and to listen to those experiences. I'm sure they're going to continue, but thank you for your time today. It's been lovely.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank
Wasn't
you.
so bad after all, was it?
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much for that. That's wonderful. Wasn't so bad, was it? See, we just went straight in and chatted.
Yeah.
I think, wow, you've made my day coming over here, and my thanks to Chris for actually making this happen, you know, and finding you. And I hope we keep in touch as you progress forward and maybe in what I do, and well, you know, the paths may cross again, I think, in the future. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful. Made my day.
Oh, thank you.
I
it's
mean that
been a
sincerely.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've enjoyed.
Worried about it? Look at you. Why did you worry, girl? For goodness sake. Trust. TIS. I always say, I have an acronym I use. It's called Trust in Spirit. TIS. Trust in Spirit, Trust in Self, Trust in Service. And you do all three.
Well,